So you're looking to buy some Lipo batteries and you have questions like, what is milliamp, C rating, or cell count? Stay tuned to this video and I'm going to give you some helpful tips on picking out your next Lipo battery for your RC vehicle. First thing we're going to talk about is the cell count. The basic way to understand cell count is the higher the number, typically the faster the RC car is going to be with other things similar, like gearing and same battery and the tires that you're running on it. When all things are considered, the higher the cell count, the faster the vehicle should be. You want to look at the vehicle you're wanting to purchase or the vehicle that you have already purchased and see how many cells it operates on. For example, a Big Rock, Granite, Typhon, Sinton, those are 3S vehicles, so you would want a 3S battery. If you upgrade to a 4S, you would buy a 4S battery. You upgrade to a 6S, you would buy a 6S battery. So that's going to be your starting point, is your cell count when you're looking at your Lipos. The second rating we're going to look at is the milliamp on the batteries. The milliamp rating, easiest way to understand, is the gas tank size for your RC car. Just like in your normal vehicle, if you have a bigger gas tank, the longer you can run. The higher the milliamp is, the longer battery life you have for your RC vehicle. You've got common batteries like 4,000, 5,000, 5,200, and they go up to 9,000. However, you are limited by the battery size because of the tray that's in your RC vehicle. So you say to yourself, well, BD, why wouldn't I just put the biggest battery I can in the vehicle? You can do that. You're going to get the longest run times. Me personally, you can see I've got several 5,200 batteries. That's what I personally prefer. There's two reasons why. One is it's a much lighter battery, so your car is going to be able to go faster. It's going to handle better because it doesn't have the extra weight to allowing the body to roll. And also, it's going to allow you to jump farther because you're not having to carry as much weight through the jump. The second reason why I prefer 5,200s over the bigger batteries is the total cost. You can buy two 5,200s for just a little bit more than the price of one 7,200 or a 7,600. Two 5,200s, you do have to change out the battery sooner because you have a smaller quote-unquote gas tank, but for the price you're going to get 10,400 milliamps of run time for just a little bit more than what one 7,200 or 7,600 is going to run. So those are the reasons why I personally like the 5,200 size. Now, it's your vehicle, you can go with it whichever battery you want. Just want to give you a comparison on the largest battery versus a more compact battery. Third thing we're going to talk about is the C rating on the batteries. The C rating is essentially the punch or the power / performance that the battery has. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're shopping for batteries is the C rating is not a standardized number, so different manufacturers will claim different C ratings, some high, some low, so you have to be careful with just going by the C rating. Just because one manufacturer says 50C doesn't mean it's the same 50C in another brand. The way I personally compare batteries is I look at the dimensions and the weight. If the batteries are the same dimensions but they have different weights, typically you're going to get better performance out of a heavier battery. Third thing we're going to talk about is the C rating on the batteries. The C rating is essentially the punch or the power / performance that the battery has. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind when you're shopping for batteries is the C rating is not a standardized number, so different manufacturers will claim different C ratings, some high, some low, so you have to be careful with just going by the C rating. Just because one manufacturer says 50C doesn't mean it's the same 50C in another brand. The way I personally compare batteries is I look at the dimensions and the weight. If the batteries are the same dimensions but they have different weights, typically you're going to get better performance out of a heavier battery. The last thing we're going to talk about is the connections on the battery. Once you've picked out the cell count, milliamp, and the C rating battery you want to run, you want to find the comparable connector for your RC vehicle. The ARMA vehicles use a EC5 or an IC5 connector from the factory, depending on which version you have and when the model came out. Most of the batteries you'll find through the different retailers, Amazon, eBay, and some other sites, are going to have the same battery available in different connectors, whether it be Dean's, XT60, XT90, or EC5, or some of the other ones that are available. If you find a battery that you want, whether it be on special or it's just a battery you've ran before because of the brand or longevity you've got out of the battery, and it doesn't come with the connector you need, let's say it came with an XT60, but you say, well, my vehicle's got an EC5. You can always desolder the connector and put a new connector on. If you're worried about soldering or you're not very good at soldering, you can always take your batteries to the local hobby shop. When you get them swapped, the connector swapped out, they're going to be just like they were from the factory. There's no difference with the batteries when you have them correctly soldered. And also, when you go to most hobby shops, they just charge you for the connectors and they'll solder them on for you. So something to keep in mind. Now that we've got the configuration picked out for our battery, one last thing we need to consider is whether we're going to go hard case or soft case. Per ARMA's website, they say to run a hard case only for the 3S models and a soft case or hard case for the 6S models. Now with the 3S, they tell you to do that because there is still a little bit of play whether you have the adapters in or out on the sides of the battery that bolts into the chassis. It can slide backwards and forwards just a little bit, so they recommend using a hard case in that. The 6S models have straps going from side to side, but also from front to back, so it's more secured in there, and also it has an adjustable tray to clamp down on the batteries as well. Here's a side note you want to keep in mind if you are going to run two 3S batteries on a 6S model. Some of the models, primary example is the Typhon 6S, it is very hard and in most cases not going to work if you run two 3S hard case batteries. They will be fine as far as length and width, but the height of two 3S hard case batteries when you stack them up is not going to allow the body to go all the way down. So keep that in mind if you're running a Typhon 6S. Get two 3S soft packs, or if you go 6S single pack, you can run hard or soft and not have an issue. So just keep that in mind. So let's talk about how to secure the battery inside the truck. The way I personally do it is I like to have these buckles pressing against the side of the battery. That way it holds it firm into place, and also it holds it up against the lip of the chassis. Now when you swap batteries or put another one in, you can see that these are a little bit harder to get to because they're off to the side. Well, you can move them up here and it's going to strap them down, but then you're going to have a lot of excess hanging over the side of your truck. So this is the best way I found out how to do it. And also this is going to be where your cable won't be flopping around and have a lot of slack in it. So to show you easier, let me take out the battery. You want to pull these buckles out and give you some slack. Then we'll put the battery in. We got it into place. You'll run the strap through the buckles, both sides. And you can do them one at a time, you can do them both together, either way. I secure this one first. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold the strap at the end here, and you're going to pull it at the bottom and see how it rotates that buckle into the battery. And then when you Velcro it down, see how it perfectly stops before the mud guard? And then it secures the battery on the side so you get the maximum amount of grip. Now some people run the batteries through underneath the loop right there. I don't personally like doing that because I don't want to squash it against the battery, and I don't want my battery wires to be held that firm against something. So what I do is I plug the battery in. I only put one cable underneath there, this right here, and then I loop the strap over it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hold the end of the Velcro strap, we're going to pull it tight, Once we pull it tight, we're going to stick the battery in there. And I put it in the center so that way I can push the Velcro together right here. And I can also push the Velcro together right here. And there you go. You can see it just comes shy of the mud guard on the side of the truck. So that's how I route my battery. And if you want to, your lead's long enough, you can put it in this little hook right here on the power module. I don't personally, I just leave it loose because it's not really long enough to go anywhere, especially once you put the body of the truck over it. That's going to wrap up today's video on understanding LiPo batteries. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you did, push the like button for me. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you subscribe to the channel, you'll be able to see future videos, including the next one on how to understand the settings and features on a LiPo charger. Either way, I appreciate y'all stopping by the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope y'all have a great day, and see you on the next one.